Good evening. I'd like to welcome you to this winter edition of Talking with Greenhills. I'm Jason Grisgoric, Waycross Community Media's Government Access Coordinator, and of course, joining me, talking all things Greenhills, Village Manager Yvonne Kovac. Glad you could join us again, Yvonne.
Nice to be here.
Oh, it doesn't look like our picture here.
Good. That's very good.
But it's more like the spring edition
Yes.
almost. But we've got some great things that are starting off the brand new year, and what a wonderful post-Christmas present was given to us on January 11th when the Greenhills Historic District was marked as a National Registered Historic Landmark. How wonderful is that?
That's a long time in coming, but we're very excited about it.
Indeed. I believe our journey began in that in 2009.
I think so, yes.
During the comprehensive plan. Now, for those who aren't familiar with what we're talking about, what would be considered the Greenhills Historic District then?
The district would be, we're referred to as blocks.
True.
So blocks A through F, and now it includes Gambier, a portion of Damon, and a portion of Ingram.
Okay, so we're
like
definitely...
the interior.
You're looking at the interior portion of the...
So,
okay.
Right.
And again, a long time coming. It was officially designated on January 11th this year. What was the trials and tribulations that went through this? I mean, I know that you weren't a part of the whole process,
right.
But I mean, you had many people helping get this going. But what was that? Obviously, it was a lot of pushing from our residents to get this done. But what happened, and what was that process like?
Well, and the village had hired a consultant, Beth Sullenberger, to help kind of navigate the whole thing for us. And she did get a lot of help from members of the Historic Society, members, people at the state level, the Ohio Historic Society, and a lot of great help from the National Park Service themselves, who had done a lot of research. So, it was a few years in coming, putting it all together. A real comprehensive survey was done of every building and its condition, and we're most known for our layout, the planning, the building, taking into consideration the topography, things like that. So. That was all surveyed and put together in a wonderful nomination, I believe she called it, by Beth. And then once it got to the feds, it went through a series, to the National Park Service, it went through a series of hearings. I was honored to be present at one of those in May of this year. Of last year. Excuse me, time flies. Yeah, it was in 2016. But after that, it went through 2 more hearings before it was finally approved.
It's scary to think that there was a possibility it may not happen, especially if you're talking about trials and kind of that discussion point.
Yeah, you're always glad to know it's over. Although I think there was a point in our original nomination when once they kind of approved a final draft of that, you felt fairly confident that it was going to go through. But that wasn't until like mid-year last year, so you just kind of wait.
And the wait finally pays off, as we say. I know that we were discussing at last meeting, in January's council meeting, that things like signage and new things will be popping up eventually. This isn't going to happen overnight, obviously. Right. These are things that are going to help draw people in now, especially for bringing them off of 275 and bringing them down our corridor.
Right.
What do you expect? Obviously, there's also going to be a plaque designation, honestly, naming that, and that won't be till late summer. Obviously, that greasy wheel doesn't work that fast.
Right.
But what are you expecting? Great things now that this has happened and Greenhills has its name. What do you expect from this designation?
Well, I definitely think we'll get an influx of visitors.
Sure.
And we're also Glendale, almost right next door to another
historic
district. So they're likely, if one draws, they're likely to check out the other one since it's so close. So I think we can definitely see an increase in people visiting Greenhills, which will hopefully translate into people who'd be interested in investing there. Those who now live in the historic district have a real piece of history, literally. And I think going forward, it'll take people who are interested in making that investment and that commitment to maintaining that structure. And businesses who want to be, it's kind of quaint and just really kind of a guaranteed market for people who are interested in historic districts, so hopefully that'll translate into clientele for our
I was wondering if that was going to kind of help, especially with the new change of hands at the shopping district and everything else, that maybe we'll see some new changes coming, again, not so quickly, but maybe faster than what we anticipate.
Right, we're certainly hopeful.
For our residents who do live in the now historic district, are there any benefits other than from them being able to pat themselves on the back saying, look where I live? Are there any benefits for them, federally or even village-wide?
Okay, at this point in time, we have our community reinvestment area that if they decide to do a significant, something that would translate into an increase in value, we have our CRA that would exempt a portion of their taxes for doing that improvement. Depending on how extensive it is, they can seek federal tax credits right now.
Okay.
That would be definitely for a much larger project to make it worth your while to pursue those. And I believe we have to have locally designated historic districts to be able to apply for. Ohio has tax credits as well. So
those items are available. They just need to seek them out and pretty much
Just
follow
more
that.
steps.
I know,
Right.
Paperwork galore,
Right.
always something. But it also gives that designation that Greenhills has always been something special, something very unique, and now it really kind of puts that cherry on the top of the sundae now that we have this designation.
Definitely.
Again, do you think, with people coming in, hopefully now with the roads all finished, we won't have to worry too much about that. But do you think we'll see some changes? We'd like to keep things our historic ways, but I know we've been talking about possibly new street signs, things like that. Are those types of things in the work as well?
I think we'll definitely see those over the years and as funding permits to make those changes.
I know I keep saying these wonderful things, but of course this is
Always
the one
takes
thing that
money.
runs the gambit.
One
of
exciting
things.
thing that I learned from the Historic Society recently is they're working, I believe it's with the Cincinnati Museum Center, on a couple of housing tours.
Oh, wonderful.
In Greenhills, so those would be a first.
Okay.
I'm not sure the dates are solid, but they were looking at possibly in April and September.
Oh, that's
so,
great.
a little heads up to our residents. People are going to be touring our town
And
see what we're all about.
What wonderful things. Because especially last year when we were introducing your park talks as well as the tree talks, it's a wonderful way to get out and move because we are a very mobile city, village. And keeping that idea going makes it a lot better. It's nice to know that we're now a part of that Cincinnati Walking, those type of tours. My family, as a matter of fact, just a side story, everybody loves these when I tell them, we had noticed that those were coming about, and it was a great way to kind of get to know not just Cincinnati, but greater Cincinnati in general. And now that Greenhills is a part of that, like you said, more foot traffic, bringing more recognition to our area, which is wonderful.
Yes.
Because I think sometimes, a lot of times, most people forget that Cincinnati can go out to the outer rings.
Right, that's true, that's true.
Well, it sounds like we have a great thing, again, a 2009 start, but a 2017 grand culmination, and here we are. What a wonderful way to kind of end out spring, or end out winter and bring out spring.
Definitely.
And as long as the weather holds up like it is now, we'll be fine. Other great things that are coming up, well, it's not necessarily a great thing, but taxes are coming up, as always.
Well,
like I said, not a great
evil.
thing. Yes, of course. Taxes go a little bit differently in the village. Are we offering any help, and are we seeing any changes this year?
Okay, the Regional Income Tax Agency, we all know her as Rita.
Yes.
Rita is going to have their free taxpayer assistant event this year. Again, it'll be in Mount Healthy because it's a number of communities that participate in that. And that's on March 21st, I believe, from 12 to 6.
12 to 6, yes.
So that's now available for our residents. As far as tax code changes, we personally didn't do a local update this year. We did it, I think, when one was 2 years ago, so we don't have any major changes that way.
I didn't think so, but you just so
you
that
never know.
Yeah, I was going to say
stuff,
that way everybody knows. But if anybody is interested, again, that's going to be in Mount Healthy for tax assistance. Sometimes you just need a little help,
right?
You know,
and it's first come, first served. So people might have to wait a little bit, depending on the crowds when they get there.
But it is 6 hours. There's a 6 hour window. There's plenty of time, and it sounds like there's with a number of communities involved in this, it sounds like you'll have a number of people that the wait won't be too hateful.
Right. They bring down a good group to deal with the issues.
Well,
Also, I might add, Rita
please.
has updated their website.
Oh,
We just received notification of that about a week ago, and I did go on the site, and it does seem to be more user-friendly. So
excellent.
that's always a backup, or could even be a first choice for many to use their computer.
And a
go
lot of
do
people
it
do
online.
prefer to do the online, and with the village being able to do so, it is very helpful to all involved. So remember, pay your taxes. Public service announcements from Greenhills and
There you
Cross
go.
Community Media. To kind of round out everything, we've got some wonderful events coming. That January, you rolled out a wonderful calendar of events of great, wonderful new things, some new, some old, things that are coming up. Let's kind of touch on the spring events that are coming
Okay.
up, because we'll be, of course, joined back again in April when we discuss more wonderful things. But of course, starting off with the Easter egg hunt, I can't believe we're going to be talking Easter here
I know,
soon.
that's good too.
I know. The fire department helps put that on, correct?
They do it exclusively. So yes, 2:00, and I understand you need to be there
Bright
a little
and
before 2 because it goes very, very quickly.
And that's at the
But
Commons,
always fun.
correct?
It sure is. Yes.
As most things are. And of course, one of my favorite springtime events, Arbor Day.
Oh, I know. That's why I love that one too.
I love it. It's wonderful. Do we have any ideas of where we might be meeting and what we might be planting this year?
The tree board wanted to do it on a Saturday. Again, we did it on a Saturday a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
so
but
we're
I
gonna
wanna
do
say
it on
about
a
3 years ago or
Saturday.
so.
Yeah, and you attract a little bit different audience, but we're thinking that we would do a pruning program
Okay.
this time in combination with the tree planting.
Excellent.
It will start at 10 a.m. in the morning. We have not nailed down the specific site, but it probably will be on the west side of Winton Road in one of the big green spaces, possibly by Pioneer Park.
Oh, okay.
in that
and again,
area.
it's nice to, again, branch out. I know that every year we've been trying to get somewhere new or somewhere different.
Right.
And it sounds like, again, another new and exciting area. Again, are we thinking about bringing back the tree walks and talks?
Yes,
next year?
we are going to be doing more tree walks.
Wonderful.
Yeah, in fact, as part of this, there will be a small tree walk right around in that area,
Excellent.
in addition to the pruning. But we will be doing the tree walks, possibly in combination with one of the park talks.
Okay.
But we'll be doing the park talks again, too, and I'm real excited about that, especially with the National Historic Landmark.
Oh,
We'll be
absolutely.
able to we'll have more information at that point to take right to the residents and talk to them one-on-one about it, so that'll be great.
Since you brought it up, and we didn't get a chance to really talk about it, the wrap-up last year, how do you feel those Park Talks went? Obviously, we're going to be back again, but
Right.
how do you feel that went?
Overall, I was really happy with the crowds. I think our largest was maybe 20 or 22 people at Burley Park.
Sure.
But it also got very hot. So we are going to try this year to put them, kind of at the beginning and towards the end so we don't have some of those really hot dates. And except for Burley, we will probably put it either under a shelter or under the gazebo.
That's
'cause
fair.
That was very helpful. But no, I was pleased and I'm excited to have them again this year. And hopefully more people will come.
I hope so, because again, if you get to know your community, and again, a reason why we do these is that if you get to know your community, you feel a little more connected.
Yes,
And that connectivity really
absolutely.
helps
Yeah.
the progression of the village. Well, it looks like we've got pretty much everything off of our list here, unless there's something you would like to bring up before we close out this first portion of our program today.
Just our events are coming up.
Sure.
We are going to, we have a discount going on right now at the golf course, really good prices. Our memberships are out for the pool. So we just hope everybody will take advantage of it.
Scary to think we're
Have
going to
a
already
great
talk
summer.
about pool and golfing,
know.
but no, the pool will open in May?
Oh, yes. Wait,
Yeah,
I've
I was
got
gonna
that
say, I
date for you. May 27th.
Okay.
Right.
And
Is opening day.
and we'll have some wonderful, again, when we meet in the summer, we'll definitely talk summer programs, but I'm sure we'll be doing some special things at the pool this
Yes,
year as well.
absolutely. Those are always real successful.
Wonderful. And of
Yeah.
course, summer wouldn't be the same without Concert on the Commons.
Oh, I know.
It's-
In fact, the calendar of events, there's been an update. The
Oh.
first June, the first Wednesday in June is always Jim Miller Day.
Yes.
From here on out. However, he has added a concert actually for May 31st.
Oh, really?
So
Okay.
we are now going to hear the first concert on May
May
31st. And I
31st.
believe I heard that the June 7th will be the car show.
Oh, wow,
So
we're
that's
really
nice
moving
and
these.
early.
Yes.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
and
a
again,
really good lineup.
again, it's
ready
one
for
of
the
those
summer.
things that when it gets too hot, and especially with all that metal out there, it can get
We have a lot
blinding.
of new trees that need to grow, but
Good
we're
point.
excited about that. So maybe in future years there'll be some really nice shade.
I think we're seeing a progress
In the
here.
meantime, we should have some umbrellas we rent or something.
Yes. Well, it looks like we have hit the bottom for our winter edition here, but we'll definitely be back in the spring.
Sounds great.
But Yvonne, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And we'll again see you soon. Of course, I'll see you at the meetings, but of course
Okay.
we'll see you back here in a few months. And of course, we'll be right back to discuss the new old neighbor in the village. Of course, we're talking the library here next on Talking with Greenhills.
Tune in to the Greenhills Village Council meetings every first Tuesday on Time Warner Cable, Channel 23.
And welcome back to the winter edition of Talking with Greenhills. We've changed seats a little bit, and I'm very fortunate to have with me now Jennifer Weigert from the Hamilton County Library of Greenhills. Jennifer, glad that you could join us.
Thank you for having me.
Well, you know, the great Christmas news that came to us is that the branch was reopened just around Christmas, about the 22nd?
The 22nd was our grand opening. We had a soft opening the week before where we got all of the paint on the walls and the internet running, and they're like, get the doors open. We want to get back.
I do remember because we were in constant conversation, like, when's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? So I'm so glad that it has finally been here. It's been a long journey, I know, but you're in a new home. Long time happening. But how did that journey happen? I mean, obviously you've been in the little spot that could for a long period of time, almost like Harry Potter's closet bedroom, so to speak.
We used every square inch that we possibly could. It was the little one, but we always thought of it as our cozy cottage of a library.
I like the better choice of terminology, although I do have to get that literary plug in there, so it's always good. So your movement in went well, obviously. You're in this brand new facility. It's not a new facility for those who aren't aware where we're talking. We're in the White Building now, in the community building.
We are. Our address is 8 Enfield now, and we're our own separate little room in there, but we're still part of the big community building.
And what wonderful things have happened since, other than new floor space, what can you say that's so wonderfully and new about the branch now?
We have all kinds of new fun things, and where we are in the community building is actually coming home for the library. The library service started in the 1930s, the late 1930s, in the community building. If anybody's ever familiar with the Greenhills Historical Society, they've got a museum, and that room was the library room for a long time. And then in the 50s, we moved over to the space that we had been, and we were in there from the 1950s until we just moved now. And now we've come back to the Greenhills community building, and even though it's not in the same room, we're in where the old middle school library used to be in the 1970s wing.
You can almost say it's a good homecoming.
It is, pretty much. So we're very happy to be back, and we have over 600 square feet more, but that lets us do a lot of really fun things.
Sure.
We still have all the stuff that we had before, children's collection, teen collection, adult, but our children's and teen areas are significantly bigger. We used to have just a few bookshelves for the teens, and we had one little section off for the children's area, and that had 2 mobile bookcases, the children's desk, and a table for the kids, all in one tiny little space. And now we have a much larger, much more expanded, especially for picture books and fiction for the kiddos, special tables for them, round chairs where they can sit and be comfortable. And it's really good. In the teen area, we've got 2 beanbag chairs, which are very popular with.
I was going to say.
I like to sit in them too.
Oh, get a little comfortable in the library, because you gotta, when you pick up that right book and you get in that right comfortable position, you really don't want to stop reading.
You do, and if you want to browse our graphic novels or our anime section, it's all right there, and you can just sit down and have a comfortable place to browse and make sure you're really getting what you want.
I like the way that we're talking in a young authors, young readers section to begin with, because when most people think of the Greenhills Library, most people, and Greenhills in general, they don't think of the teen and children's demographic in the area. Obviously, they are probably one of our bigger hitters at the library, if I'm not
They
mistaken.
certainly are. We have a number of families that come in, our after-school crowd when the middle school lets out. We have a lot of students that like to come in and see us afterwards, and it's to have fun as well as to do any homework or anything that they've got going on.
And now that you're in the new space, it's easier for them to get to as opposed to, I mean, granted, it is a few extra feet, but I mean, let's be honest.
Actually, for the middle school, it's closer
Sure.
because they're just coming up Farragut there. But in our new space, we have 3 doors that you can come in. The front of the building is always open when we are, and then the side door off of Farragut. And then our ADA accessible one in the back is also closest to the parking lot where anybody can park in there.
Other than the ADA compliance on that, was there a reason why you chose to have multiple entrances, or was that just the way that the configuration ended up being?
It's just the configuration of the space that glass hallway has doors at the front and the back, and then there's one off to the side that was like, we can, so why not?
Let's do it.
And so we did. But the ADA is a huge one for us because in our old location we had a giant step that was
That's
like
true.
that tall. So that was always a big challenge for service for people, and to have the ramp in the back and to have the ADA accessible ramp we've already had a number of people who are able to use us who never could before, which is always an exciting.
With our new expanded teens and children's section, obviously the adult section has gone a little bit larger as well, or are we at about the same space?
Well, for the physical collection, it's about the same amount of space. We've still got all the movies, nonfiction and fiction, our large print collection, all of that's there. Our magazines are a lot more easily accessed. They're not crammed under the windows in the front of the library anymore. And what's a huge benefit is that we have 8 computers now rather than the 3 we'd had at our old location. Those had been scattered throughout the library, and then we also had 2 educational game computers. But now we've got 2 computers for the kids in the kids area, those 2 educational game computers, and then 6 in our adult area we have a scanner that you can attach things for, you have an old photo of grandma and you want to be able to put it up on Facebook, we can help you with that. But 6 computers that can be reserved and hour-long sessions at a time.
Okay.
And it's also going to offer us a lot of opportunities for more technology programs, because before we would always sit down and work one-on-one with anybody who had any questions. But now I'll be able to have classes on Word or how to get an email address or work on a resume, and I can help 4 or 5 people at one time rather than having to have them scattered throughout the library.
Well, it kind of opens a door to our next conversations, that it sounds like this new space is now offering new avenues that the old branch not necessarily allowed for. So you're able to do these classes and kind of educate a little bit more than what you had been previously.
We do have a number of classes and events. We used to have a coloring program for adults, so we provide all of the supplies for that once a month. We have 2 very active book clubs that we always had, but now we've also expanded into offering family story time on the first Tuesday of every month, and various themes we just had ones about books you'll love and everything. And we've also got a new time for our popular Tales to Tales program, where that's a therapy reading dog where kids can come and practice their reading one-on-one with Layla, who is a golden retriever, and they can practice with an audience that's not judgmental because the dog just loves the attention and they have a good time reading.
What a wonderful program. How long have you been doing that one?
That one's been of a long-standing. I've been the manager for about 3.5 years, and we've been doing it at least that long. And before
It sounds
that,
like I like the fact that you place it in that he's Layla's non-judgmental, which is wonderful, because the minute you start to close that door for a reader's standpoint, they don't want to read, and then they kind of close themselves in. Not that sitting in front of a good book is a good thing, but being able to develop those skills of speaking and public speaking, what a wonderful way to get them going.
Yes, it's just a fun way to hang out, and they get a little bit of practice, and Layla gets belly rubs, so
She's happy.
Most definitely.
We seem to be focusing heavily on what I like to see is family time together at the library. Do you feel that that's one of the great gathering spots of Greenhills is coming to the new branch, or
Most
the branch
definitely.
in general?
We always had been a gathering spot, and we're hoping to be that gathering spot again. And it's a place where a grandparent can bring a grandchild that they have once a week. We have, of course, our weekly story time for preschoolers on Monday mornings at 10:30. We do expand our programs even when we're not open to the public. We are open for a number of activities, specifically like the story times. And we have a number of events and classes. We have a mixed age craft series where teens and adults can come together and work on, we have a Celtic knot collage one coming up in March.
Okay.
And we usually have something once a month, but we also have events that are age specific. We'll have school age programs for the kids, and I just had a hot cocoa kit program for the teens where everybody could come and get a mason jar and customize their hot cocoa for themselves or a loved one just before Valentine's.
Well, granted, it does look wonderful on the set here when we have the snow coming, and but yet cocoa is good anytime.
Cocoa's good anytime, although it has been quite the warm winter.
It really has. So as we're going along, obviously people like to check out the books and go on, and summer and spring are coming. Are you already gearing up for the spring and summer?
Oh, most definitely. We've got our April and May programs already planned. We're working on some very exciting things for our summer adventure, which is our new summer program. It will be revamped a little bit. It takes components of our summer reading, our summer camp programs. We've had a lot of different ones, and the library is working on some exciting initiatives. So.
Do you find that with the new space, it has offered a different way of thinking about how you can offer some of these classes?
Most definitely. If anybody had been to our other location, we had furniture and pieces everywhere because we used every square inch. Now we have the luxury of wider aisles where people can browse and take their time to look at things and not bump into each other. But it also has a large open space where we have tables that are there, and they offer charging stations, which are really cool. But we can pull those back when we want to. And I was just thinking, I'd always thought it would be fun to do something like a yoga demonstration where a number of people could participate in an active class and sort of see if yoga was something that they wanted to do, or when we have our magician programs over the summer where we have a large collection of kids coming in and families, it's nice to have a space where we can be like, let's push everything back, and we really have the room to accommodate more than 2 people doing yoga, or enough people that, the poor magician isn't having to try and do the magic tricks with the kids within 6 inches of his hands. So.
It sounds like we are looking more as you said, that cozy cottage. Even with that extra space, we're still keeping that those arms close by, giving that warm embrace that the library has always offered.
Well, we have always appreciated being part of a community that values the library so much. So while we were closed, we would see our regular patrons at Forest Park or Wyoming or North Central. We had people helping out at a lot of places while we were closed, and they'd see a familiar face, and their first question was always, when are you opening again? And we were very excited when we had the partnership come up with the Winton Woods Schools that we could relocate to a facility that was a lot more secure, a lot more room for us. It just offered a lot of opportunities too.
It sounds like you eased a lot of fear for your employees as well as regular patrons.
We had a little while where we didn't know exactly where we would be going, although the library was actively looking for locations. It took a little while to get all of the details worked out, but once we did, we were very excited where we were going to be going, and it was good to be able to see our patrons at Forest Park or Wyoming or North Central, many others as well, I'm sure, but they were very excited to see each other and make that connections, because that's what we really like, is being a part of the community. And
well, and again, being in that core now, you know, granted you were in the part of the shopping center, but this seems more like in the core of everything. So
we're very central.
Sure, and now that you've made your new home and everything, obviously everyone is returning, like kind of going back to the idea of that homecoming, and they're making that return. Have you found pretty much everybody's returned, and have you been gaining new patrons along the way?
We have a number of people who we didn't even know you were here, but we Googled where the library was, and they've come in to see us, and we're getting a lot of familiar faces are coming in to see us, but we're still getting people who say, oh, I didn't realize you were open yet, or I didn't realize where you'd moved to. So we're trying to get the word out of where we are and the best ways of getting into the branch and finding us, since we're not quite as front and center as we had been when you could see us from Winton Road.
And what do you think is the hardest thing to gain more patrons like that? Like you said, you're not right off of Winton Road, you're a little bit further back now.
It's just spreading the word of mouth. That's always been a great way for us to tell about our programs and services, and also where we are now, because we are back just behind the building a little bit is the easiest way for parking. And we do have signs up, so we're always open for, letting people know where we are. And the hardest part is convincing them that they have to go around the building and then all the way to the far end of the parking lot again, because there's no driveway straight off of Farragut's, so you have to go 3/4 of the way around the building to
Well,
get to the parking lot.
We can consider it the library's exercise program.
Yes, you will get more steps in here, definitely. It is a little bit further walk from the parking lot, but that also does allow us to have the ramp.
Sure.
We've got our outdoor book drops that open 24 hours a day. You can throw materials in there that you'd like to return at any point. We used to have a book drop in our door, and people would stop by, but that service is still there too.
So, of all the great and wonderful new things that have graced your presence in the new branch, what do you find is the most gravitated towards from your patron standpoint, and what about your standpoint as a branch manager?
We're still just not used to all of the space because we look out and it's visually much more open with the new carpet and the new paint. It's also a lot prettier to look at. We had older carpet and we have new shelving and tables that offer a lot more. And I'd say perhaps one of the most popular, our computers are very popular, but also we have now 2 quiet study rooms that are reservable online, and our patrons are using those almost every day for preparing for a test, working one-on-one with a tutor. I had somebody say it would be the perfect place to write a novel, so
Sure.
Those are very popular, and we're hoping to grow those as a new service that we never could have offered in our old space.
Do you see that yourself progressing in any of the newer library technologies, self-checkout, things like that? Or are you already offering that now?
Oh, we already had been offering the self-checkout for over a year, but we were one of the newer places that were offering self-check-in, where
Wonderful.
you can bring in materials, and if you want to make sure that they're checked in so that you can get more new movies, or if you'd like a receipt that shows that you returned everything, that feature is turned on our computers. And actually the rest of the library system, our Loveland branch had that for a little while, and we test drove it, and now they've implemented that at all of our locations. So.
And how are your patrons feeling about some of these newer technologies? Again, because sometimes smaller communities like the hands-on, one-on-one, don't let's be together kind of thing. And
well, it gives us more time to interact with patrons.
Sure. Okay.
What that means is we're always there to help people if there's any question about the technology, and it is technology, so there's a few glitches from time to time.
Absolutely.
But within that means that I can spend more time helping somebody find a really good book or help a child who's looking for a biography. We can take a few extra moments and be with them and find them what they need. And if somebody is just needing to pick up a quick hold and you don't want to have to wait, then you just check out with the self-check machines, and you're on your way very quickly. And many of our patrons have accepted that and enjoyed that fact. I have a number of people who are still surprised. We use something called RFID technology,
Sure.
which is a little tag in the book that emits a signal, and one of our sensors can pick it up. So you can put a whole stack down on the pad, and it goes check, 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 and everything goes out very quickly. And they're like, I didn't even get it close. And they're like, you got them all. It says you checked out 7 items, and you got 7 in that stack. And I always makes me feel a little bit like I'm Harry Potter, because it's technology, but it makes you feel like magic. You just put it down and checked out, ready to go.
Exactly.
And then you can you get your due date receipt printed, emailed, or if you don't want one because you check it online or anything.
It sounds like, again, as we're kind of bringing this all together, the magic of books and how things are just the accessibility. And again, what may sound like a cold check in, check out, no one will be there. Someone's always there to help in another realm. And I like the fact that it's still bringing that coziness, but bringing technology into it, which can always be sometimes a little cold. Let's be honest.
Technology can, but we have mobile technology now where if we want to look up a book, we just unplug our computer and we can walk with you to the shelf and order something for you. The library offers a lot of digital books, so even if you're unable to stop into the library or you're going on vacation, that's when I like to use them. I'm the sort that tries to put 20 books in my carry-on. And when you have a Kindle or a tablet, you can just load 20 books onto that, and it takes up the same amount of space. But we offer instructions on how to do all of those downloadables. And with that technology, we can sit down and really show people how that's working and make more connections, because we're all about the information and getting the books to people how they want them, whether you stop in and join our book club, whether you have somebody that you're introducing to board books for the first time with the little ones, or you want some digital resources that you can take with you. The library has stuff for everyone.
It's interesting to hear a librarian discuss the progress of ebooks. A lot of us still love to hold that and
I'm
smell.
right there with you.
I love that. But you do bring up a very valid point that sometimes like me, who wants to carry on their backpack, 20 great novels to read on a plane,
Yes.
you can't do it. Are you finding that people are still on the fence about that, or are we gravitating more toward the electronic book? Or
It's not even mutually exclusive. We certainly have people who like to use the Kindle, and sometimes we offer things that are more quickly delivered than if waiting for a physical book. So sometimes you may say, oh, this book I want to read now, and it's available to download, but it's not available for checkout because there's a waiting list, and we can sometimes help people with that. And again, the ways schools are using digital books more and more for helping their students connect and everything, so we offer resources for downloadables that way. And it can be a mix of, you want to be able to hold the book sometimes, but then you're going, I can't carry that many, and you want to take it with you, or gee, that book is so heavy that I don't want to have to hold War and Peace in my hands, but I can hold it in my Kindle, and it's nice and light and easy to use.
you bring up the schools, and of course, since you are in a school building, are you looking for partnerships, obviously, with the Wynwood School District?
Oh, most definitely. My children's librarian, Amy Charlie, is a very familiar face at Primary North and South. She does many visits. She does monthly visits to most of the classes in both of those schools, and has for a very long time. But we have project successes in the community building, and we're working with partnerships of what we can offer with them, and the middle school is right there, so we're certainly reaching out to those teachers as well, and hoping to be able to enhance their services and show off what the library can do for their students as well.
Sounds like we have a wonderful asset in the village of Greenhills, and I love hearing that. And we're running down to the last part of our half hour here, but I do have to ask the big question.
Sure.
Since we are getting out of the winter blues into the springtime ahs, what are the good reads that someone might want to put into their Kindle or pick up as they're walking by?
Oh, that's such a hard question.
I know. We were just here, my crew here and I were just talking about great reads. So we have a librarian here.
But the problem is, what genre do you like to read? Do you like mystery? Do you like nonfiction? Do you like historical fiction? Are you looking for a good kids book, a good teen book? I'm personally right now participating in SWAN is a library consortium, and they're doing a teen reading challenge.
Oh, okay.
And since I also offer the services for the teens, I'm brushing up on a few of mine and catching up. One I'm reading right now is The Unexpected Everything, which is a very engaging teen book that I got a recommendation off of Goodreads, and I thought, so this is one that I was sharing with a patron who asked me earlier today for some good books. We've got our book club book list, and often those are very exciting. The Boston Girl was a historical novel that we did last month for our latte book club, and that was very well received.
And for those who are interested, and I love talking Goodreads, and we probably will after the cameras go down here, but for those who are interested, are there still openings available to come and join a book club that you do offer?
We are always open for new members for our book clubs. We don't require registration for attendance on any of those. There are a few programs that we do say we have to have registration because I only have room for like 5 in our technology classes, and it will say that. But all of our programs are free at the library, and if anybody doesn't have a library card, just come in and see us. If it's been a long time and you're like, but I owed the library money 50 years ago, we can help you out. Just come in and we'll be happy to see what's going on. We have book club cards for anybody who's wanting to start their own community book club. We have teacher cards for educators, all kinds of other book cards for kids, teens, and adults. And we want to make sure that we have our resources out there for everyone to use.
Well, Jennifer, we've made it to the bottom of our half hour. Like I said, we'll probably discuss books here in a little bit, but
you can always come and see us at the Greenhills Library, and we'll be happy to do one-on-ones so we can get the right book for you.
That's exactly what I wanted to hear. Again, we were talking about that warm hug that the library offers, and it sounds like the doors are wide open at the new branch.
They were very excited to be back.
And I'm so glad that we are here, and I'm glad that we were able to sit down one-on-one and discuss. Maybe making a little bit of a regular talking about books.
I would be happy to come and talk again about
Excellent. We'd love to hear that. So if you are interested, Jennifer is with the Greenhills Branch Library here down in the community building in the heart of your village. And that was my pen, and you are joining me here on Waycross Community Media on our monthly television program, Talking with Greenhills, talking to those in the know in your community. I'm very thankful to have everyone that has joined us this evening, and we'll see you again next month when we're talking with Greenhills. Have a great evening. We'll see you next time.